Good evening, everyone. It's another edition of the Walker Roundtable. We have a good topic tonight. I'm RJ. Let's kick it to Bear. Bear, what's the topic this evening?
So the topic is, what are some things you believe would matter a lot in adulthood that you eventually realized don't really matter?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, well, let's go around. Let's introduce ourselves. I'm RJ again. We have Scoosh, Book, and Bear. Introduce yourselves, please.
Papa J, Jeff Walker Sr.
I'm Jeffrey Jr., Bobby.
And I'm Justin, the youngest.
Scoosh, lead us off. What's your thoughts?
Some things that I would think would matter in adulthood, but don't. What people think.
Mhm.
I developed this attitude of, I just don't care. I just don't care. Um, what you think is what you think, and I just developed that, I guess, throughout my life where, coming up, you do have that natural tendency, I guess, to think about what others think about you. And somehow I shrug that off, when opinions to me just don't matter. If somebody's thinking what they think, that's it. But I shrug that off, and I think that I developed that I really don't care attitude. Your opinion is your opinion, and I have my own. So that's just the way it is for me. So I think that, along with, I guess, the importance of money. When I was younger, I always wanted that, you know, high figure dollar job. And as I got older, it wasn't about money anymore as far as peace of mind when I became older, having peace of mind on a job and stressless. So I think those things, when in the beginning they mattered for me, but later on in life, they don't matter. It's peace of mind, stressless, and I just don't care.
Mhm.
So that's my take on it.
Yeah,
Who's next?
I can go next. So, like I agree with you, Diddy, as far as like I'm still in the boat of, still trying to achieve, um, you know, as much money as I could possibly get. But when you're talking, I'm trying to achieve it, through entrepreneurial routes. But like, I definitely agree when you said, peace of mind comes first over money, because like the money is not going to matter, or it's not going to mean as much or feel as good if you're always stressed out all the time, and you're not going to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So how can you live a life when you making all this money but you're unhappy? So like I definitely agree with that. Um, but for me, one thing that never really struck me as really important. I mean, this is something I feel like I carried with me my entire life, was like popularity. Like, to me, I think a lot of people feel like popularity, or um being social, and being having the approval of other people, that to me I feel like was highly unnecessary when you have other things that are more pressing issues. Like, you have goals that you want to achieve, you have things that you need to do in your day-to-day life, and people who, I mean, you notice the pattern with people who are the most popular. Like, you even see it in school. Like, I see it even to this day as a teacher, with the kids that I teach. It's always the same pattern. The kids who are the most popular are always the kids that's getting the least done, right? And it's always the kid that might not be, as popular as everybody else, but he's getting everything done that he needs to get done. And that's because he's focused, and he's keeping his head in his books. And so, like, I always felt like the need to be seen, the need to be popular, the need to be in the mix, and the need to be, the guy that's always getting, approval from people. I've always felt like that was kind of a weakness I saw in people because I feel like if you're basing your mood on how well you're received by other people, that to me means that you probably don't like yourself as much as you probably think you do, or you can't stand to be by yourself um for an extended period of time, and you always need other people. Because to me is kind of a weakness when you are always in need of somebody's approval. So that popularity, um, that need to be liked all the time by everybody you come across, that is something that I feel like was very unnecessary, especially when you become an adult. Like, I feel like quality over quantity is better anyway. I mean, like, because as you grow older, a lot of your friends that you have, fall by the wayside, and then you're left with, the very few that you know is going to be, ride or die for you. And it's like when you get to that very few amount of people, I feel like that's better in the end because you know who the real persons that will stick by your side are. Instead of having a hundred fake friends, you got one or two close friends that you know you can depend on. So that's me. Um, where I feel like, I realize that these things don't really matter as much in adulthood because, it really doesn't at the end of the day. Yeah. So who's next? Bobby, Ryan?
Yeah, I'll throw in a couple right now. So I think something that you both said was on my list, thinking that success would automatically bring peace, or certain types of success would bring peace.
Mm,
And you might accomplish certain goals that you set early on. You might make a little bit of money, but it really, if you don't have peace, I don't think it really brings you peace, right? You have to be able to get peace from other places in your life, right? So I've learned that. I also have learned that I used to think that hard work, you work as hard as you can, that's gonna somehow guarantee stability, right? A college degree will somehow guarantee stability, and you won't have to deal with craziness and struggle and all of that stuff. I mean, it just doesn't, right? You have to, uh, people will face setbacks and struggles and uncertainty, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much you try to do the right thing or stay on the right path. At some point in your life, you have to, deal with certain setbacks and things that just come up in life, right? So that's something else that I think I've learned that I didn't necessarily get or fully grasp when I was younger. Um, Another thing that I used to think was that adults had everything figured out, right? And that there was some kind of certainty or confidence that came just by being turning 18. And that ain't how it is,
I'm
right? I
still
think
learning.
that, right. So yeah, I think that's something that I learned, um, is that you will forever be learning something new. You won't ever have everything figured out. Right? There's always going to be, um, things in your life that surprise you, things in your life that you might need to pivot on and pivot to something different. Right. So that was another that I felt like, kind of surprised as I got older. And it's like, man, I ain't gonna figure this out. I ain't gonna ever fully figure it out, but I'm gonna try my best to do what I can as I move forward. Um,
Touching on
yeah.
something that, let me just interrupt. You said something that just struck a chord with me. As far as education, some of your smartest people don't have degrees.
Hmm.
Some of your smartest people, I found that out. It's like, man, I got two college degrees, but believe me, I've met folks zero college degrees, zero education doesn't mean they're not smart. And I've worked with folks like that that have had skill sets, things that they've done in their lives that I'm like, man, there's a lot of guys out here with college degrees that, can't figure that out. And you can. So, I mean, I've worked with a lot of folks like that that you don't necessarily need a college degree to be successful now, and I'm thinking that, with all of the avenues now, with figuring out, all of this stuff now with digital AI and all this stuff, these guys don't need college degrees for your settings anymore. And I always thought that, coming up in old school, you know, got to get that college degree, got to have that. That's all it was preached to me. You just can't play ball all your life. No, you can't. You can't. But you need that college degree to be successful to get a good job.
I mean, the new thing now is a lot of these kids are learning trades instead of like going straight to college. They're learning a hard skill that they can market,
Yeah,
you know.
man. Shoot, man, come into my house and put up some drywall or lay something down, some masonry
Yeah.
work somewhere. You're cranking out a good income that way. But all of your guys out here without college degrees, believe me, um, there's some smart folk out there. But I hate to interrupt you, Bobby. Go ahead.
No, that's good. That's good. I think you know what? This is I got a couple more, and then I'll throw it to you, Ryan. Maybe three more things that popped into my head when I was thinking about this topic. One is I wanted to be famous, right? When I was younger. And maybe like basketball superstar famous, football superstar famous, that type of famous, right? I wanted that. I think if I really am honest with myself, I think I wanted that because one day we all won't be here. And what I thought would be the case is that if I'm famous, then I'll be remembered by a lot of people for a long time. As I got older, I my perspective changed. What what matters to me is that I'm remembered by just a few folks that I care about, and that's it, right? So I think that's really I don't care about being famous. I don't care about having my name known outside of my family and the people that I love and those that I care about, and those are the people who are gonna remember me anyway, right? Perspective changed as I got older, got into adulthood with that one. Another one that I used to think when I was younger was I put this pressure, and it was never a pressure that was put on me by anybody. I put this pressure on myself, but I had it in my mind for a long time. And somewhat I still do. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the one to make my family, change my family's financial situation forever in a positive way, right? And I think that pressure that I put on myself was not I don't think looking back, I think it wasn't a good thing. It was undue pressure.
So I
And
feel like I honestly felt that way too. But like honestly, with the ideas that we have, and like I'm trying to work on something this summer. Like I feel like we gonna get there one day. Like
yeah, I
I
do
feel like
too.
it's bound to happen at some point.
I do too. And I just before we jumped on here, I've been working on a project that I haven't told
Hmm.
y'all about and I'm excited about. But I think that um from as far back as I can remember, I put that pressure on myself, right? Being
Hmm.
wanting to be the one to change it all, to all of that. And my perspective now is I still believe Justin, but I'm not holding myself to anything. I'm not holding myself to a certain result, right? I'll try and hope that it happens, but I won't be mad at myself or upset at myself for, as far as like me failing y'all or, the rest of the family if I don't do it, right? I think that's where my mind was for a long time. And I think that I just had to grow and mature and understand that I can't control everything. And I can't control everybody's situation and outcome, although as much as I would want to, I can't. Right. So I think I've had to come to that realization as well. right? And then the last thing that I had on my list was really it has a lot to do with trying to achieve milestones and stuff. As when I was younger, I always thought, okay, I achieved this. I had my mind on the future constantly, right? Okay, I'm gonna do this, get this milestone. Okay, I did that. Now I'm gonna go and do this one, and I got another one coming. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna work hard and get this one, right? That was always my mindset, and I don't know if I fully allow myself to appreciate the present. And so as I got older, that's something that I learned was to make sure that no matter how many things are out there to achieve, and there's always going to be something that I didn't do and want to do more of and better at and get better at. If I don't focus on what's going on now in the present and make sure that I appreciate that time with whoever it is that I'm around, then whatever happens in the future becomes that less it becomes less valuable to me. Right. So I want to make sure that I make a concerted effort to enjoy what's happening now and appreciate what's happening now, and the things in the future will come. Right. Those are some of the things that I learned. What you got, Ryan?
Well, y'all feel free to jump in while I'm talking, but I think it goes along the way. Like I think I can't like through trial and tribulation, and I'm gonna get a little preachy, but this is gonna come from the heart. There's been a couple of things that I think I don't even worry about anymore, right? It's women, money, friends, opinions, and organized education. Even though I think academics are essential. You have to be searching for wisdom, but I think the biggest thing that I learned is, y'all all know how I am about Christ and how I am about God, and in my visitation with him, one thing in my growth, I realized that in order to unlock a lot of these things like wisdom and knowledge, and you have to keep God first, and you have to try to stay in his purpose so you can unlock those blessings and stay in the flow. Because I think more than anything, what you are able to get as a result of what's within. So it's your spiritual development. So I think the more that I grew in Christ, in prayer, and in my faith, and understanding that our life is everything that we have is by his grace. And if we understand that the things we're trying to get and all that get an understanding is one of my favorite scriptures. And that means of all things, first spiritual things and of the celestial, things of the terrestrial. So understanding the things that you can't see in the veil and things that you can see on the other side of the veil that we're on. But really keeping your eye on Christ, because as soon as my inner man, my spiritual man, the scriptures started manifesting themselves, my studies in the Bible, my faith in God, really once it started becoming steadfast, there are things that I'm still, he started giving me instructions and these spiritual impartations. Things became easier for me to understand. And I think like just to certain ideals, just the way I express myself, the way I problem solve, um, stress, being at peace with your enemies, opportunities, finances. I haven't had, bless God, I haven't had issues with finance. I've had issues just like anybody else, but I've also had many blessings too. And then the wisdom to be able to deal with those finances, right? So something unexpected happens and then I'm blessed with an opportunity and I don't. So I think that, you know, the biggest thing that I think a lot of things people look at is they look at the things that are of the natural. And if you focus on the spiritual first and keeping your eyes stayed on God, everything in the natural will fall into place, right? Um, whether it's and I think it's what your spirit can carry. Because for me, yeah, I mean, I never wanted to be known. I never wanted to be famous. If I'm quite frank, like I never really wanted to be a billionaire. I just know I wanted to have overflow and prosperity, right? Within the folks around me, my family. If God blesses me with a wife, but for my one child that I do have, and I think I've always wanted it to be in. whatever capacity he gave me to be. So maximizing that. So I started realizing that this in this journey, we're on a journey to develop ourselves here. So once we get on the other side in eternity, the journey will continue from faith to faith. And I always had this understanding of trying to accomplish as much as I can, but it's not really about that. It's about maximizing what God has given you in his purpose so that you can be fully in that, right? So the whatever allotment you have, you can maximize that in his purpose. That may mean, you know, only here for some people. That may mean to the ceiling or to the sky for some people, but whatever he has assigned for you to do, so you can continue to carry that out in eternity. So I think for me, it's really become more of a spiritual journey so I can have, because the one thing that I really was always looking for, and I'm starting to find that now, getting close to 40, is peace. Like that's Daddy talked about it. But I think there's no amount of money, there's no amount of accomplishment, there's no amount of anything that you can really fathom until you start finding the peace in the Lord. So, so hold on, excuse me, getting a call. Sorry about that. So I think that once you get to the point of having peace and you're really like steadfast in that peace, that's when it all begins. And if it's in different spaces, but I think this journey, this rat race that we're on a lot of the times, just in life as an adult, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Trying to get to that peace with God is really the thing, because it's girded by wisdom, and with that wisdom, things fall into place, and life becomes easier. So now you flow past people. When problems come, you're able to run straight through those problems. Um, and it's just the whole you're on a cloud and you're dealing with things from the heavens versus on the ground. So I
Yeah.
mean that's and so from my perspective, I'm getting to that point where it's very obvious that I'm set apart because I haven't really been focused on, you know, all of this other stuff, right? That's going on. My Bible is open at night. It's open through the day. I'm listening to scriptures. I'm listening to sermons. That's what's in my spirit, right? Trying to refine myself.
Let me interrupt you on something real quick here
Mhm.
and just interject on something that you said. You know, when you get, and it's not necessarily when you get older, is when things slow down, you get a better perspective on what you have to do, what you need to do. I think, when I was playing ball, when the game slowed down for me, I saw everything. That people say that all the time, but as I got older, I saw everything. It's like, these guys are running up and down the floor at light speed, but when I take a step back, I can see them. I'm just not out there. And that's what life is too, is that when you take kind of a step back within your realm and you see things unfold and you're not always rushing to do something, you get up and you have either your day planned. I think things will unfold a lot easier for you, and the stress level will kind of decrease when you see things unfold. When you don't have to, I don't want to say prioritize, but everything is a priority, but everything is not a priority. You take things one thing at a time, do that, move on to the next thing. For me, I get up when I'm done sleeping, not necessarily tied to an alarm clock, but I see the day unfold. And if I can get either my workout in, get something done around the house, get some project done, whatever it may be, there's no time stamp on that where I have to get it done. But it's all in the flow. I think you got to have a flow, but it's the perspective that you have on things like that. But that's just my take on it. I didn't want to interrupt you, Ryan.
No, I mean I think that's good. I think that's a flow. You always say it's the old saying, you want to stay in God's flow. It's an ebb and flow. You want to stay in God's flow. But I think a lot of us get so pent up and so stressed out because, I think I had my life all planned out by the time I was 18, and I thought that things were going to unfold a certain way, right? But now, once I've been, and I think now I'm starting to understand, right? That God meant it for good. The stuff that I've been through, because I
Mhm.
went through a lot. I've gone through a lot of my story is similar to Bobby in a lot of ways. A lot of the stuff we've had to deal with, and now I'm starting to see it from a different perspective. I'm starting to understand life from a different perspective, and I think that if you really keep your eyes on God, you're really seeking Him out, you'll start realizing that all of those things that you thought were important, your life is a vapor, and you got to have your spirit man locked in at all times and be very, very conscious of that. That if the Lord were to take you right now, are you on your mission? Are you searching for your mission? And then that way, He'll keep you on the flow with everything that you do. So that's my sermon for the day.
Preach, brother, preach.
Yeah, won't he do
Amen.
it? Amen. Let it be established, brother.
Okay.
All right. And Justin, did you have anything else that you want to talk about?
Well, I guess like I wanted to we talked about the things that weren't important to us anymore as we got older. And like I guess Ryan touched on it when he talks about, being more aligned with God, and I agree with that because like that's something that you know, I'm more intentional about as I'm getting older. So what are some things that I want to ask, like, what are some things that became more important to you as you became an adult? I mean, we talked about some things that became less important to us, but what are some things that became more important to you?
Time, my
Mhm.
time,
Management, time
my
management. Yeah.
time. I don't like, you know, I, being retired. My time is valuable to me. I love my time, and when you seem to have less of it, you know what I mean? But your time, as far as people wanting you to do things for them, and I'm one to do things for other people, but I value my time. And I think that time is limited. You know, you find yourself up till 1 o'clock in the morning because you don't have enough time in the day to do your homework, to do whatever it is you got to do. But time is something that I've come to value more, is that, we have so little of it, is that, by the time I get to doing the things that I need to do, the day is over. And I'm like, God, the day is over. Now the month is over. We're into summertime now. Where
Mhm.
has this year gone? In a couple of days, it's going to be June, and I'm
Mhm.
like, half the year is gone. Time is just, birthdays are
Wow.
rolling around. It's like, man, where did the time go? So I value that more now. Not necessarily something that's, a physical, something that you can hold, an object or whatever, but it's time.
I'm gonna piggyback on that one. So I think time, for me, time with family, right,
Hmm.
and folks that I love and care for. Right, because when you're younger, you feel like you got all the time in the world, right? It's not,
Hmm.
it doesn't feel the same because I think that we just naturally take it for granted when we're younger. And then also time to do stuff, right? There's so much that I want to do and see, and I guess that's just my personality. I want to do it all, and I try to do as much as I can and fit as much as I can in the time that I have. So that's important to me, and more now than ever before. Also, I appreciated y'all when I was younger. I think I appreciate the family and more now than I have ever, especially because I have a different perspective on it now because I'm a father, right? And so I think that's something that I appreciate more now than I did when I was younger
We
too.
appreciate you too, brother.
I know, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I appreciate my brothers and my pop. Just to let y'all know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have our
I
fireside
made them.
chats. Yeah, and I help gird them, gird, gird. My
What
brothers.
that
That
What does
means
that mean?
what it mean,
gird
Greg? What
means
gird
providing a
mean?
good, solid foundation for
Sounds like some
continuing.
Wisconsin cheese.
Yes,
Curds.
girding. Just to let everybody know, I gave my brothers both a good foundation growing up.
He
You know,
always trying to take credit for stuff. What
You
kind of
know,
foundation you talking about?
a
Ryan
good
always likes to
solid
say,
Wait,
foundation.
Ryan's always likes to say, like, he's the oldest. And I'm like, yeah,
I am
in
the
doggy,
oldest.
in
I'm
his
the
in dog,
mind.
old. Listen,
Oh, let
in
I'm
me
the
doggy
stop.
oldest.
years, in
I'm the
dog
oldest.
years.
I'm the oldest of the three. I'm the middle brother, but I'm still the oldest. But I'm
In
younger.
dog
But
years.
I'm younger than
Yeah.
Bobby. You don't have to understand it. Just is what it is. Okay. All right.
What do you appreciate more now,
You,
Ryan?
you know what? So I think I'll piggyback on what I was saying. Um, I appreciate prayer because it's put my entire life into perspective. Because I think for me, I was floating through life and acknowledging God in all of my ways, right? Just, I think that has unlocked a whole different mind, spirit, and soul perspective to me. I say it, I talk about it, but I'm in a totally different dimension on every level because I've done that. But to piggyback on that, I think a derivative of that is what y'all both have talked about. So keeping God first in everything in prayer and everything that I do, and giving him blessings from his grace, the time really makes a big difference because I think that just managing your minutes, your hours, your time blocks, like just like, okay, I have to get this done, I have to get this done, I have to get a whole lot of things done today, right? I have to get my truck maintenance, had to go to the mall, had to go and pick my daughter up from school, like all of these things. I'm like, I gotta get all this. Okay, I gotta be out of the door by this time. Got to be out of the door by about 10 o'clock so I can get da 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 da. That's a big thing versus just kind of, taking it as it comes. Waking up, maybe getting a little something to eat, going on about your day. I mean, and that was even true as an adult, on my own. Not really having just a strict time block of what I need to accomplish, and even kind of having it in short periods, medium periods, and long periods to be able to accomplish what you set out to do for not only the day, but the week and the month, et cetera, et cetera. So I think those are the things that are really important now, big time. And then, um, that's number two. Well, that's actually number three. But number two, after, being aligned with God, I think is just really like trying to be the best father that I possibly can. That's just, I think, I mean, my daughter's my legacy. So I try my best, I spoil her. I won't ever stop. When she's 30, 35, 40 years old, I'll still spoil her and she'll still be my baby. So I think for me it's just, while I'm here and I have the privilege to help guide her in life, she know her father is gonna be a protector, a provider, a spiritual guide, a covering for her, and her biggest supporter, in life. So for sure.
Good.
Yeah. So for me, like y'all already touched on, God, time, you know, like for me, like one thing that became more important as I got older, as I got wiser, was health, you know, being more health conscious and being more aware of, eating and exercising and things like that.
Good.
Because you were younger, you just didn't know or just didn't have the education of like what was healthy and what was not. And so as I became older, I just became much more intentional of, okay, I gotta, my body is not like uh everyone else's, or my metabolism is not like everyone else. I can't eat the same things that I used to when I was younger. So I have to be more aware of what I can eat, what I can't eat. And so like that to me became a lot more important as I got older because, like I'm looking around, at folks and I'm like, I'm, at work today, right? And folks are eating, you know, all this, it's the end of the year now. We're about to be in summer break and folks are like bringing all kind of junk food to celebrating pizza and cakes and cookies and, ice cream and all kind of stuff. And I'm taking a step back and just looking at them. I'm like, these people, look really unhealthy now that I pay attention to like the stuff they're eating. I'm like, no, not on some like, dang, y'all look bad, but I'm like, I
You are,
see why.
you are what you eat. Is that?
Like, no, I'm like, I see why a lot of folks are like, are unhealthy at you know, young age, or I would say young ages. I mean, these folks aren't like some of these folks are like in their 40s, but they look, a lot older because I'm like, y'all are not taking care of yourselves. And so it's like it's one of those things where like being more health conscious is something that I feel like more people need to be more aligned with,
Can
as you
I
get
say
older.
something real quick?
You
So
can
I'll
turn
say,
them on to the world famous Jeff Walker juices.
Hey,
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man.
Jeff Walker Piscuchas. Yes, and it was very good. He had some ginger raspberry watermelon mixed blend yesterday. It was very good. But I'll say this, Justin. I think that that's good because it is true, and I think that we all are really health conscious and try to do our very best. You can't be perfect, but having a good blend of vegetables and fruits really matter. Taking care of your skin, going to the doctor, taking care of your teeth, all that. I mean, and you're definitely babyface Nelson. You look like you're 15 still. Um, and if you want to, keep that baby face, you got to keep, you got to keep taking care of yourself, and you've been doing a good job. So excellent work.
Wait, am I the only
Appreciate
one
it.
that remember when Justin used to eat a bunch of Flaming Hots and then Flaming
No,
Hot Cheetos and run out on the football field?
yeah, no.
hey,
I remember
man.
that.
Hey, man.
Back when
Delicious.
That's what I'm saying.
Once
back when the metabolism was on a
He's
thousand.
grown up.
hey man, like the Bible says, once you become a man, you put the childish things away, right?
Yeah.
The childish Cheetos away.
Right.
Yes,
I mean,
he put them away.
ain't nobody trying to eat them Cheetos no more, man. Like that's gonna tear up my stomach for days. I still eat the flaming hot popcorn though. I still dig
Hey,
some
do you still
popcorn.
drink milk, Justin?
No,
Justin
I
used to
don't
drink
drink
a lot of
milk.
milk too. That's why he's,
No,
that's why he's so strong. His
I
Hey man,
bones,
mean,
I used to
strong
put that
bones.
milk in that cereal as a baby. He couldn't have been weeks old, and I was giving him cereal, Jack.
I was hooked on milk. I
Kept
don't know
kept
why.
him
Like
asleep.
Mama
It's
said
be-
I was drinking the most milk. Like it was hard to wing me off of her.
well, you
A lot of
you think that Justin just was just hooked on just maybe the breast milk, but it sounded like Daddy was putting
yeah,
some
2% in there.
Hey,
Cheerios in that
No, man. It
Similac.
was, hey, let me tell you something. With Bobby never slept. He never
mm,
slept. He never slept. There was nothing I could do for him. The only thing that I can remember happening to Bobby is his granddaddy gave him some sort of a crazy mixture of something, put it in his cereal, and the next thing I know, he had gas for days.
Oh,
So Bobby would never sleep. Ryan, you were right behind him. I called you the town crier.
really?
Yo, man, it was Ryan the town crier. And man, you just wouldn't sleep. But when it came to Justin, I had gotten advice from everybody. I'm like, okay, I had two kids now. Here's the third one. What do I do? Oh, you got to put cereal in that milk. Shoot, your mama worked a second shift. And when I came home, she gave them right to me. Here, I gotta go to work. Next thing you know, man, I was looking around. I put that cereal in that milk, popped that bottle in his mouth. Justin sucked it down. He was asleep for
Did you put
days.
it in like a blender? Did you put the cereal
No,
in the
it
man,
was like
blender?
it gives
He
me
it
was
was ready
milkshakes
mixed.
he
and
was chewing chewing the
It
milk.
was It
Giving
was
me
already
protein,
mixed like it was already mixed
protein
like an
powder.
oatmeal.
Uh,
Right.
it was like
Oh man.
it was the oatmeal,
Little
huh?
baby
It was like
muscles.
an oatmeal mix, real thin, but it was cereal.
I bet that boo boo
Good
came out like a
Lord.
doggone brick, didn't it? Just
Oh man,
right
but
off
you
the
know
bat.
what? He stayed asleep.
Oh Lord, we all got off topic.
Yeah, really. But you know what? He he stayed asleep for days, and you know what? It transferred into his adulthood. I don't even know he's in
Mhm.
the house.
Yeah,
I don't.
You know,
Just I don't know.
sleeps so good. I mean,
Sleeping.
hence the nickname. What's his nickname, Daddy? Bear. Sleeps as good as a baby bear.
hibernate.
I
Okay, so
guess.
the next episode, I think we should just listen to Daddy tell stories about us when we were little.
Yeah,
Oh man,
Yeah.
I got plenty. That'll be 3 hours, 3 hour tour with y'all.
A two-parter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give a story about each one of y'all. Well, I'll start it with one with Ryan because Ryan was
Dennis the
one
Menace.
that just so energetic. He would hang from the closet clothes poles and jump from bed to bed like he was, Spider-Man. So, and Bobby was accident prone, so he stood on everything and broke it. He almost
Yeah.
killed himself a bunch of times.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh
Mm.
man, and Justin boy, Justin, I can remember doctoring on him he still got scars on his feet, I bet, from that baseball incident.
No,
Oh
I
yeah,
remember that.
I
I
remember
remember
that.
that.
Oh, that was
I was racing some dude named Tony,
yeah.
and like he pushed me into a fire hydrant because I beat him in a race, and then bust my foot open, wide open.
On the top of your foot
On the
too.
top part.
That's
Yeah,
what I
And I still got that scar on my foot to this
still
day.
got that scar. I want
Okay,
to
well,
see it after this.
don't give him too much. Don't give him too much. We got two
All
more
right, that's
stories.
it.
No.
That's
That's
just a
one
little
for each of
taste.
y'all. But
That's
I
just
got
a
a
little
bunch
taste.
of oh man, I got a whole book of them right here somewhere.
Yeah,
Mm.
in my baby book. Um,
Good.
are we good, guys?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay. Hey, thanks everybody for listening to another episode, watching another episode of the Walker Roundtable. Please like, subscribe, share, um, and let us know what's something that you thought would happen and when you were younger, and then when you got older, it didn't happen, or you didn't really think it happened. Yeah, it didn't happen in the way that you thought it would. Um, Comment, let us know, and then we'll be back next time. Take
All
care.
right.
All right, God bless.
Peace.